Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us today for the Innovation for Cool Earth Forum, 10th annual meeting hosted by the Ministry of Economy, Trade and Industry, and New Energy and Industrial Technology Development Organization. Now, we would like to start the keynote for. My name is Akiko Nakaya, serving you as MC today. This is previously recorded dialogue between Dr. Fatih Birol, Executive Director of the International Energy Agency, and Mr. Tanaka Nobuo, Chair of the ICEF Steering Committee.
Fine. Thank you very much, Dr. Birol, for joining us again in the ICEF meeting this year. And I'm very much delighted to have you with us. Especially, I must congratulate you that the IEA will host the 50th anniversary next year, and that's a great achievement of you and your staffers at the IEA. And in fact, IEA is also having the 10th anniversary this year. So this is a very important year for both of us to see what has happened before and what will come next. This year's ICEF focus on the so-called the innovation for just, secure and sustainable global green transformation. GX is what the Japanese government is promoting a lot for the sake of carbon neutrality. At the same time is energy security. So I just want to ask you that many things have changed, and I know you are saying that we are in the global energy crisis these days. And not only energy crisis, but the climate crisis is maybe we are more or less beyond the tipping point. Pandemic is over, more or less over, but certainly we had a big lesson about this impact. And geopolitics now is there that India or these global South countries are making a very strong leadership role. And in COP28 this year, to the end of this year, we will have the first global stock taking schedule there. So I think we are in a very, very important moment. So Fatih-san, to think about the future, we have to always learn from the past. So I just want you the question, what do you think is the very important changes we have faced in these last 10 years in the energy market as well as energy security?
Thank you very much, first of all, Mr. Tanaka, for hosting me at this ICEF meeting. I was always delighted in the past to be in person in your meetings, especially when they are in Paris. Hope to join again to you and to your colleagues there. And congratulations for the 10th anniversary. It is 10 years is a very good number. And I would say happy birthday to ICEF from Paris, from IEA. And as you mentioned, next year, it is our 50th anniversary. And I would be delighted if you can join us as our distinguished executive director. Many years you served us, you led us to IEA. It will be great to see you in Paris in February next year when we celebrate our 50th anniversary. Mr. Tanaka, as you mentioned, last 10 years, many things happened. So we don't have much time, but I will take 4 or 5 things which I think is both economically and strategically important for the energy sector. One of them is some 2015 when we hit the Paris Agreement, some 10 years ago. The global energy investments was about $2 trillion. And out of this 2 trillion, 1 trillion went for fossil fuels, and 1 trillion went for clean energy. So 1 to 1, 1 for fossil, 1 for clean. This year, it is the global budget of energy investment is 2.7 trillion, and still 1 trillion goes to fossil fuels, and 1.7 trillion goes to clean energy. So we see an important increase in clean energy around the world. And this year, again, for the first time, we see amount of investments going to solar is higher than amount of investment going to oil production. So it was very difficult to imagine 10 years ago that the solar investments would be higher than the oil production investments. So I would say this is one important change in the investment part. The second one is I would say, the strong increase of renewable energies around the world, especially in the electricity sector. 10 years ago, renewables were more of a romantic story, and now it is becoming a mainstream. This year, according to our numbers, more than 80% of all power plants built in the world will be renewables. So more than 80% renewables, the rest, everything else put together. Another big development in the last 10 years is on the transportation sector. The rapid emergence of electric cars. Leave aside the 10 years ago, only 2 years ago, when we look at the electric car sales, 1 out of 25 cars sold in the world was electric, 1 out of 25 2 years ago. And this year, it is 1 out of 5 cars is electric cars, and it is growing very strongly. Maybe last 2 points I want to mention. Until 2 years ago, Russia was one of the cornerstones of global energy markets. Number 1 oil exporter of the world, number 1 gas exporter of the world, a major player in the coal markets, uranium, and others. Many countries, especially European countries, but not only, they were depending on Russian energy. And after Russia's invasion of Ukraine, there is a big change how many of the clients of Russia consider Russia from the energy security point of view. Because it is not only Europe lost a major supplier, but Russia lost a major client. More than 75% of Russian gas was exported to Europe. More than 50% of Russian oil was exported to Europe. So Russia lost by far the biggest client, and the reputation of Russia as a reliable supplier is now put in the question by many governments and even people in the street. Mm-hmm. My last point I want to mention, what changed in the last 10 years, is on nuclear power. Nuclear power has been an important part of the global power system. And after the serious discussions after Fukushima, we have seen that the appetite for nuclear died down in not all, but in many countries. But what I see now is that nuclear is making a strong comeback. It is in Japan, where you are, we are seeing there are a lot of restarts of nuclear plants and hopefully new ones coming forward. Korea changed its nuclear policy back to nuclear power. In Europe, in France, for example, big push for nuclear power. In Netherlands, in the middle of Europe, Netherlands wants to build two new nuclear power plants. Sweden, Finland, UK, they are all pushing nuclear power. And in the United States, with the Inflation Reduction Act, a lot of support for the life extension and for the new nuclear power plants, and Canada. But the biggest growth of nuclear is coming today from China. And our numbers show that the current policies, in about 5 years of time, China will take over United States as the #1 nuclear power capacity in the world. Again, a development which was difficult to imagine 10, 20 years ago. So these are some changes, Mr. Tanaka, what we have seen in the last 10 years in terms of the economics, geopolitics, and on the climate change front. But one thing is clear, the clean energy is emerging and emerging fast and faster than many of us realize. It is the renewables, it is electric cars, it is heat pumps, it is nuclear power efficiency and others. And I know that ICEF provides an important forum for the decision makers, for the thinkers, for the institutions to come together and to discuss the opportunities and the challenges for clean energy across the world. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Fatih-san. Very clear points. And I cannot agree more that these renewable energy investments and facilities, infrastructure, electric vehicles, these are the really major changes we have observed in these last 10 years. Do you think that these changes should continue, but at the same time, I mean, in the COP28, when we discuss about the further stimulation of this carbon neutrality, do you think COP28 and global stock taking will focus more on how we can do to promote renewables all over the world and enhance this transformation? Do you think, do you expect the big success, or do you think what is necessary to make the stronger commitment of the member governments, especially engaging global south countries toward carbon neutrality in the COP28?
Thank you, Mr. Tanaka. I think this COP28 will be a decisive one, and therefore it is very important to have a convergence of the countries around the world, but coming out from this COP28 with clear commitments of the countries. It is on the renewable side, on the efficiency side, phasing out of coal, maybe another one, methane emission reductions, and most importantly, perhaps how to help the emerging countries, as you mentioned, global south, to access financing in clean energy transitions. And it is the reason why the COP28 presidency, the President Sultan Al-Jabbar and myself, we are organizing several high-level dialogue meetings, bringing several ministers, several governments around the world. The next one will be tomorrow in New York, bringing them together to have a good outcome. I am definitely hopeful, but there are major challenges, and the biggest challenge is today not coming from the energy sector or climate change, the biggest challenge comes from the geopolitical fracturing of our world, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, very difficult time. But as you mentioned, I mean, many times that current energy sector or transformation, the more and more the government role is getting important, right? Industrial policy, green industrial policies everywhere, Repower EU or Inflation Reduction Act of US, GX strategy of Japan. Many countries try to put a big amount of money into their policy. So trade policy was, in a way, in principle, should be coordinated by WTO. But in this kind of green industrial policy, how can we, I mean, the global community, coordinate the rules or standards for this kind of green industrial policy? Do you think IEA will play a very important role towards the better harmonization of these policies? Or how about the COP28 is going to discuss it? And also, I'm thinking that ICEF should think about a little bit of global governance of these energy and climate change mitigation related issues. So how can we manage this global challenge together and more efficiently is a really, really challenging and important issues for both of us, Fatih-san.
So let me answer you briefly, Mr. Tanaka. Now, I think after IEA said maybe 3 years ago, it is now clearly accepted by many governments that the next chapter of the industry sector is clean energy technology manufacturing. It is the batteries, it is the electrolyzers, it is the heat pumps, it is the windmills, all of them. And therefore, many governments are putting industrial policy in front of their energy policies and climate policies. There is the Inflation Reduction Act. And in Japan, you have the green transformation of Japan. In Europe, we have a Net Zero Industry Act. India is coming with the production-linked incentives, and China has been driving this clean energy technology since a long time. And what I'm afraid is that we may not see enough cooperation between the countries, and as we all know, a free and a healthy trade system always helps to bring the cost of these technologies down. But currently, I am rather seeing that there is more protection of the domestic markets and less appetite for cooperation for trade. And we are, as IEA, we are going to look very soon how the good trade or bad trade policies can affect the penetration of clean energy technologies. We want trade to be a facilitator, but not an impediment in front of the clean energy technology industries. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Fatih-san. You gave me a lot of interesting thought and insight in the energy market and climate change, and I really enjoy working with you. I'm very much delighted to come to visit Paris again in next February for your 50th anniversary events. And I wish you always, I'm watching you in many international arena, and your prominence is wonderful. But I wish you will keep your in good shape and healthy, even though the schedule is so tough traveling. Or COVID-19 time, we are always in a remote basis conferencing, but now the face-to-face is happening back again, so we are getting busier. So take care of yourself.
Thank you.
See you again very soon.
Thank you very much
for your
Thank you
cooperation.
Thank you very much, Mr.
Goodbye.
Tanaka. Bye-bye. Thank you. Bye-bye.